Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I'm super glad you're here today. We are going to do the cutest little DIY making a beehive out of mostly Dollar Tree items or items that you may have around your home. So make sure you hit that subscribe button so we become friends and you don't miss any of my future DIYs. So let's get started. So what you're going to need is either some leftover Easter eggs. I happen to have some from last year, some twine from the Dollar Tree, scissors, hot glue gun, a permanent marker, and some acrylic paint. So when I break my egg open, I'm going to use the taller portion of it for my beehive. And if you have a brightly colored egg, you may want to paint beforehand because some of your egg may show through. I didn't because mine was gold and I knew that it would be fine. So I'm just starting to wrap the twine around the egg, and my twine kept wanting to slide a little bit, so I just used a little piece of a skewer to push it down before the glue dried, and that worked just fine. And it also kept me from burning my fingers. So I keep working around the egg with the twine, just wrapping little sections at a time, pushing it down. And then once I get about halfway up, maybe a little less, I cut 3 pieces of twine about 6 inches long. And I secure it, all 3 pieces, to my work surface just to hold it. And I'm just going to braid this. We're going to use this for the handle part of your beehive. Now, if you don't really want a handle on it, you can skip this step. But I just braided it to give it a little bit of stability when I put it on. But if you put it on at this point of wrapping your egg, it will hide most of the the bottom parts of your braid. So I just dab a little bit of hot glue on the ends to keep it from unraveling as I am placing it on the egg. So I remove it from my work surface, and then I'm going to place it at each halfway side of my egg. And you can decide how long or short you want it. And then I cut the excess off. And I just continue to wrap. So see how wrapping around covered up the end pieces. And then I started wrapping on the inside of it once I got up to the top part of my egg. Now when I got to this little inside, it was very hard to, it wasn't hard, it was very cumbersome to try to wrap with the long strand. So I just took a separate strand and just spiraled it and just laid it on the top portion of the egg. And again, I use that skewer to save my fingers from burning. So once I got that piece positioned the way I wanted, I snipped off the end again and took another small piece and got it as tight as I could, because this is going to be the very top of your beehive. Then I put a generous amount of hot glue inside so that it did give me a little bit more height. And just positioned it in there. Snipped off the ends. So again, if your egg is showing through and you don't want it to, you can always go back around and wrap again, or maybe use a thicker rope or twine. Mine was fine because it was gold and it didn't show through quite as much. But you can also make smaller beehives out of the smaller, like regular size Easter eggs if you have some of those. So I just cleaned up some of the excess glue. Then I'm going to find the center of the front of my beehive and draw somewhat of an oval or circle. And with my acrylic paint, I'm going to paint the inside of that oval. And it doesn't have to be precise because you're going to cover the edges of that up with more twine. So once that's dry, you're going to take more of your twine and you're going to run a bead of hot glue around the outside of the oval that you just painted, and start applying your twine around that. Now, because you're going to want to make more of a 3D effect, instead of going on the outside of that first circle, you want to go on top of that circle so that that creates a more of a 3D opening for your beehive. So I just keep wrapping around until I feel like it looks the way I want it to look. And I think I went around maybe 4 or 5 times. But you can kind of tell here how I am getting that 3D effect by making sure that my twine is on top as opposed to around the side. So once I get it where I want it, I snip off the ends and secure it. And you can see here how it gives it that effect. So of course you can't have a beehive without some honey. So I took a little bit of yellow acrylic paint that I had and brown and mixed it together to make more of a golden color. Then I took my hot glue and just drizzled a big glob of the hot glue coming out of the door of the hive. And then once that dried, I just took the paint that I mixed and just painted over the hot glue. I also went around the inside a little bit because you can never have too much honey. and I think it turned out adorable. I ended up putting it on the gnome that I made in my last video. I took the hat off from the original gnome and placed the beehive on top, and I think he is just so cute. You can also just display your beehive. I used a little cake tier. But thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any future videos. And if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Thanks, guys.